that as a yes. So hello, everyone. Today we'll be presenting our project, Furrever Friends. Our team includes Cate Cezar, Cate Silva, and Josh Brown. Today we'll be walking you through the background of our project, overall objectives, and our user requirement analysis, conceptual designs, detailed designs, evaluation of these designs, and then we'll wrap it up with some conclusions. Selecting a pet to adopt or buy is a very overwhelming process, and individuals typically rely on online searches and word of mouth. Our goal is to create a simple and intuitive way to connect prospective pet adopters with their ideal furry companions and ensure a seamless integration into their lifestyles. Our overall project objectives are to improve prospective pet owners' knowledge of the right pet for them, offer a platform that is easy to use for both potential and existing pet owners that provides pet information and resources, and finally allows potential pet owners to find a pet that is a perfect match for them. In our project, we wanted to especially hone in on the needs and preferences of prospective pet owners so that we could show them pets that are tailored to their preferences and lifestyles. Our goals for this project were to define user requirements from our target market, develop an idea book with feasible and infeasible concepts, construct high-fidelity prototypes using our design principles in UI kit, and then finally test these designs and integrate the feedback we received from our users into the final design. Let's first take a look at our research methods and findings. We started out by defining our target users as individuals who are passionate about pets, whether they're looking for their first pet or hoping to add another pet to their family. For our research, we started out with benchmarking and looked at 8 pet adoption or meetup apps like Pet Finder and Pawmates, and 3 dating apps like Tinder and Hinge. Through our literature review, we got some great insights into the pet market and what leads to successful or unsuccessful pet adoptions or purchases from breeders. We found that pet adoption is on the rise, especially after COVID, and about 70 to 88% of homes currently have pets. We also found that first-time adopters and younger individuals were more likely to take back or give up pets. We then surveyed 210 people, had 13 one-on-one interviews, and 1 focus group interview to gain a better look into our target users. We took all the data and used affinity mapping, thematic analysis, and created user personas and journeys. We found key findings such as prospective pet owners prioritize traits like personality and compatibility, and that users have a high desire for detailed backgrounds on animals. From our research, user interviews, and surveys, we created 3 user personas. Our first persona is Miles, a pet owner who is a proponent of adoption. He has grown up always adopting pets, and he wants to adopt another cat into his family. Some of his pain points are that he has difficulty finding a pet that matches his lifestyle, and that during his last adoption, the rescue did not provide enough information about the pet, and he had to return it because of incompatibilities. Our second persona is Emily, a potential pet owner who is looking to purchase a dog from a breeder. She intends to buy a specific dog breed that fits in with her family's lifestyle. Some of her frustrations include struggling to find breeders online and having a lack of transparency and honesty from breeders. Our third persona is Teresa, a dog breeder who is passionate about educating people about the dogs she breeds. Some of her frustrations include managing puppy buyers' expectations and educating potential adopters about breed characteristics. We also created user journeys for each persona, which we've linked below to our Figma file. During the ideation phase of our project, we used 4 key themes that we found in the research: discovery, tailored to you, communication, and knowledge. We then used ideation methods of brain dumping and negative brainstorming to create ideas under each of these branches. In total, we had 82 ideas in our idea book. So to narrow this down, we used a 5 paw print rating scale based on things such as how it fit the user's needs and if there was a demand for it. Then we used dot voting, where each team member was given 10 dots, 5 for feasible and 5 for infeasible, and this gave us our top ideas for each section. For our top feasible ideas, we created information architecture, task analysis, and wireframes, and for our top infeasible ideas, we created storyboards. Our information architecture outlined the app from the perspective of someone looking to adopt or buy a pet from a breeder, but did not include anything from the breeder or shelter side, since we deemed this was out of the scope for our class. We then created a detailed task analysis for various aspects, including login, onboarding, browsing, matching, profiles, and chatting. We also provided a link to our SWOT analysis, which helped in the ideation phase to ensure we properly addressed all the insights that we found about our competitors. Finally, as we move towards higher fidelity, we created a list of design principles and usability goals to follow, which I'll discuss in the next slide, as well as created our branding and UI kit. While we designed, we kept the following 9 design principles and usability goals in mind: intuitive navigation, meaning creating easy browsing through pet profiles, clear pet profiles, user-friendly interface, efficient filtering and search, transparency, engaging visuals to enhance the user's experience without distraction, functional minimalism, efficiency and flexibility, and then error tolerance. And now I'll pass it off to Josh, who will talk about our storyboards and high fidelity designs.
Thank you, Cate. For our storyboards, our team used generative AI software like Midjourney and Adobe Firefly to generate a lot of our images. This is a sample of one of our concepts called a pet hologram simulation, which represents an infeasible idea from our idea book. Here, the gist is that a family is looking to adopt a pet and is able to download a holographic version of the dog that they're interested in. The family can interact with the dog just as if it were present with them in real time. And after about a week's time, the family has a better understanding of whether this particular pet is right for their lifestyle. It can make a better informed decision. While developing our low fidelity prototype, we conducted some user testing to ensure that our model matched with our users' expectations. We tested our 4 flows that consisted of setting up a profile, searching and filtering, viewing pet profiles, and viewing messages. The feedback from the testing helped our decision-making and allowed us to stay on track with our goals. We also developed a brand style guide for our product. This really helped us stay consistent with our aesthetic and efficient in our workflow, all while working collaboratively. We also conducted a second round of usability testing with a sample of about 30 participants to refine our design and user flow. This helped us decide on a way forward between 2 competing design concepts. Some of the feedback we received from this round of testing included modifying our second chat button with another icon or just removing it altogether, adding an icon to the Adopt Me button, experimenting with visual enhancements for the pet profiles, and adding an animation effect to a button on the pet profile screen. We've also added pages or page titles to screens that didn't have any, icons to signify where slide functionality is present, back buttons to the top of our navigation to provide more flexibility for our users, and a readily available help feature, which empowered our users to access a tutorial whenever needed. At this stage, we merged the user feedback that we received, design principles, and display considerations to create the final prototype for testing. We'll now play a video preview of that prototype, and it will take you through each of the user flows we created. Alrighty, now this takes us to our storyboards. We did take some creative liberty with converting our static storyboards to video versions, which focus primarily on using AI technology. To do this, we used a variety of tools such as Midjourney, ChatGPT, Canva, and an online video software known as InVideo AI. Our creation process consisted of script writing, asset creation, and video editing. We wrote the script and then used ChatGPT to edit it down to a specific length of time to help with that script meet the video parameters. We generated our images using Midjourney and Adobe Firefly and used video editing software native to macOS, and finally used Canva to put all the assets together. We then used InVideo AI to assemble and edit the final video. Now this here is going to be a video of our infeasible idea, which conveys a person using VR technology to experience what it feels like to live with a pet prior to adoption.
One weekend, Sarah was using her VR headset and saw an experience that would let her pick out a pet and play with it. She has always wanted to get a cat, so she looks at the cats available to interact with. She picks out an orange cat that she instantly fell in love with at first sight. Sarah spends the next week playing with her cat and feeding him through the VR headset. She noticed that although she was playing with the cat as much as she could, he still had a lot of energy and seemed somewhat lonely. After consideration, Sarah decided to get 2 cats so they would entertain each other when she was away.
All right, next slide. This storyboard showcases our feasible idea, which shows a person who's considering adopting a pet. It portrays the utilization of our app prototype, as well as walking through each step of the user flows and pet adoption process.
Picture this. Val, a young professional in her apartment, ponders the idea of adding a furry companion to her life. She decides, it's time to find a pet that's perfect for me. With a swift pull from her pocket, Val's phone is in her hand, and she's typing "perfect match" into her app store. In no time, the app is downloaded and ready to go. The app presents a questionnaire to refine Val's profile and the pet search. It inquires about her living environment, the kind of pet she desires, and the age range she prefers. After she has answered these initial questions, she's also able to update her personal profile where she can provide a picture and write a short bio about herself. From the browse screen, Val is able to adjust filters to her liking. Afterwards, the app identifies a list of potential pets that would seamlessly fit into Val's lifestyle. Each pet profile is detailed, providing information about breed, age, and behavior. Alas, she is matched with a dog named Leah. She's able to explore Leah's full profile, filled with photos, videos, and more. She reaches out via chat to ask if Leah is still available for adoption and schedules a virtual visitation directly through the app. Val decides to adopt Leah as a new companion and proceeds to initiate the adoption process. Within moments, her adoption is approved and she's over the moon. She pays the adoption fees and schedules a date to pick up her new furry friend.
All right, and with that, we'll now pass it to Cate, who's going to take us through our final design changes.
Thanks, Josh. So before round 1 testing, we analyzed and improved our designs. So we simplified the process to just 3 steps and added the ability to select multiple options during these onboarding screens. This means we've cut out the clutter and focused solely on essential questions to initiate the search and matching process. This empowers the users to customize their results more efficiently. So in our study, we used different methods to check how well the prototype worked. So we look at misclick rates, if tasks were completed successfully, and what users thought. We also asked users to talk about their experience while using the prototype. And after testing, we watch videos on how users interact and ask for their opinions. So let's see the methods we used. So we used Eat Maps to see how often the users clicks in the wrong place and if they finish the tasks. Task ratings, so they essentially rated how easy or hard tasks were on a scale from 1 to 10. Think Out Loud, so where they share their thoughts while using the prototype. Video analysis, opinion gathering, which was they provided their feedback in input fields as well as talking. So we began our testing phase with 34 participants, but encountered recruitment challenges for the second round where we only had 10. So to ensure consistency of the data analysis, we focused all our last round of analysis in just the 10 participants. So the majority of young users aged 25 to 30 rated the app and tasks highly with no reported issues. However, the older crowd, particularly those aged 31 to 50, they face challenges with certain aspects of the app. So for instance, they struggled with the filter location and had difficulty understanding certain terminologies like the dummy test, lorem ipsum, and they also expressed skepticism about the prototype's functionality. So based on these findings, we have identified several areas for improvement. These include relocating the filter icon outside the search bar with a clear label, updating terminology for clarity, addressing inconsistencies in data displayed, and providing more comprehensive breeding information. So despite these challenges that the users had, they kind of appreciated the app visuals appeal and ease of navigation. So moving forward, we will ensure task instructions are clear and provide a disclaimer about the prototype limitations up front. So after reviewing the feedback from the first test, we made these changes. So as we said, we made the filter button easier to see, especially for older users who might not be familiar with the Google material design. We also updated the picture to show the correct breeder, and we made the text links more noticeable by ending the underline style, which is a common web design pattern for secondary links. Our first item was originally named Browsed. which confused some users, so we updated to say search based on the feedback we got. We also made other changes to the help wizard action. So in our first iteration, the individual pet profiles could only be shown after users tapped the single view rather than tapping on the grid view. And then we also updated so that tapping any pet profile card in the grid view takes the users to the corresponding pet profile, which kind of like helped produce the tasks. We also made changes to the chat flow. So in our first iteration, the back button in the chat window took users to the main chat menu, and this was confusing to some users. So to keep consistent with their expectations, we updated this so tapping back instead takes users back to the main browser search page, which is our main landing page. So this takes us to our second usability test. So here's some of the key findings from the test were users have suggested to add expandable collapsible read more option in the pet info section to prevent information overload, having a help overlay screen during the sign up or logging process, implementing a toast notification to guide users on assessing the tutorial again if they missed the overlay helper, include Leah's photos in the chat interface along the breeder's photos, make distance filter more salient when compared to others like all in cats, develop a helper to assist users identify dog breeds, etc. So moving to the next slide. So the metrics used to compare tasks from test 1 and test 2 were the direct success, so the success rate, the misclicks, time on task, and user subjective satisfaction, which we measured by using a 10-point Likert scale like mentioned earlier. So overall, we saw improvement in each of our tasks with one exception. So the time on task 4 was 9 seconds longer than the task from the previous task. So to analyze both iterations, we categorized the issues. So here's an example of how we did that. So we literally like analyzed and filtered the categories and then compared to the previous one. So next slide. Some key points from our user testing are it is an iterative process. The user feedback was definitely instrumental in shaping the final design. The final version of the design integrates insights from all the user rounds of testing we did. So now we'll play a video of our final prototype, proposed prototype. So now I'll pass it to Josh.
Thank you, Cate. Of course, as with any project, we experienced some limitations. Ours were the usability software, which we used, Maze, affected testing due to incomplete prototypes, budgeting constraints that capped our usability testing, conflicting user feedback and views, suggesting user bias or confusion. And then some of the recommendations moving forward for us to increase our budget for prototyping and testing, exploring alternative prototyping tools, conducting more user research, and then continuously gathering feedback from our users. This now takes us to our lessons learned. While we did learn a lot of lessons, a few of them here of main importance is the importance of matching design features to align with our user expectations was a big one. Addressing our user feedback in our design ultimately helped eliminate user confusion and promote confidence within our users. Making sure instructions are straightforward and easy to understand, and then tailoring our design to be user-friendly for all ages, keeping in mind some accessibility considerations, like including labels with our icons to ensure clarity. So those were some of the big ones there. I believe with that concludes our presentation. We appreciate everyone listening, and we can take any questions that you have.